Hello, and welcome to the Destiny Expanse podcast, a show about all things Destiny. I'm Quasi. Joining me today, as always, the soon-to-be RNGesus list, Death Charger. What's going on?
Oh, man, that's a harsh statement. I recant that statement. The fat lady hasn't sung yet.
Well, it's not going to be singing until at least October for you, right?
This is true. I will be back on October 24th. Maybe longer. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But how we all doing out there?
Doing pretty good, man. Got some peach schnapps in me. So good.
Yeah,
in today's show, say what?
My water's got barley in it. I don't get it either.
Don't barley the beer.
Strangest thing in the world.
Oh, wait. That's how it works. In today's show, we'll be taking. I can't even read, man. It must be those peach schnapps talking. In today's show, we'll be talking Final Iron Banner, PC beta details, more Cabane. Actually, I don't think we'll be talking about Cabane as much, and how Destiny 2 finds the fun. But first, we discuss the latest article from GameSpot that it talks about Activision CEO Eric Hirshberg's earnings call and his thoughts on Destiny 2. Now, Charger Hirshberg says that pre-orders for Destiny 2 have been very strong and added that an overwhelmingly high percentage of pre-orders have been for the premium versions that include the game and its expansion content, which I agree with because I did buy the premium version myself. And finally, and maybe most importantly with a game like this, Hirshberg says Destiny is so engaging that the follow-on content is almost as important, if not as important, as the main game. What are your thoughts on this?
That's a very choppy statement in my opinion. Okay. Some of that stuff, yeah, I think he's dead on. The follow-up content based on what most of us have seen and what most of us know at this point in time is probably going to be all that and then some, depending on what kind of tweaks Bungie has done to the game based on our console experience on the beta. Overwhelming high percentage of sales of pre-orders, I agree with that too. You couldn't touch a collector's edition at the start. They all sold out everywhere. I was lucky enough. I got one. I'm still keeping it. Don't get me wrong. But as far as to say that it's actually outselling Destiny 1, I went and did some research on that and just looked back at how far in, X amount of days out, Destiny 1 was selling. And granted, when Destiny 1 sold, you had the PS3, Xbox 360, PS4, and the Xbox One. So you had 4 consoles, and the 360 and the PS3 were out there quite a bit. So you're talking quite a few more people would have those consoles. And the game was hyped up like nobody's business from E3 in 2013, 2014. The beta was out, and let's face it, they did a far better job advertising on Destiny 1 than what they've done so far in Destiny 2. So to say that that's higher than what it is in Destiny 1, I've not seen any sales charts or percentages that are showing that. I can say, yeah, my Activision stock is doing very good right now, and I'm happy for that. But, I don't know. It's good to hear if that's the case, but like I said, I'm hearing it, but am I buying into it? Maybe 50%.
I'm going to say more than 50%. I think they do have an overwhelmingly high percentage of pre-orders. And I would agree with this comment that premium versions are what's selling the best. It seems like everybody I've talked to, even people that don't really play Destiny at the moment, but were pretty heavily involved early on in the game, have come back and talked about buying the $100 edition, the deluxe edition for digital, at least with our community on Xbox. And that seems to be like the popular choice, which, it comes with the 2 expansions, and that just kind of follows in with what he says here at the end, with maybe most importantly with a game like this, that Destiny is so engaging that the follow-on content is almost as important, if not as important, as the main game. And I would agree with that statement, because what we've seen in the beta, clearly we're not completely happy with. I would argue that the majority of the Destiny community isn't exactly on board with everything going on in the beta, even though it's just a tiny sample size. So yeah, it's kind of, in a sense, this is just like vanilla Destiny, where we have a game that it feels a bit rushed and may not completely be ready to just go, but will progressively probably get better. At least that's our hope. And I think this is going to follow the same kind of game plan that Vanilla Destiny did, where it progressively gets better with each DLC release. So I feel like overall his comments are kind of right on the nose, and I'm on board with it.
Well, I mean, you don't expect the guy like Hirschberg to sit down and come and say something bad about it because I mean,
No,
quick way to lose your job. So it's like I said, I hear it, but I'm not sure if I exactly 100% buy into it or not. At
well,
least from my perspective, you go back into May when you first saw the clip of Cade sitting there in the bar and he's talking to you and he's taking the drink and the sweeper bot sitting there. I expected a lot more hype, a lot more engagement from not only the community but from other sources, so on and so forth. Sitting here, at almost 30 days out from game release.
so do
That
you? If this game comes out with the tiny sample size that we've actually had, the game comes out and it far exceeds our expectations. I mean, is this going to bother you at all?
No, I don't think it's going to bother me. If anything, they're going to for once turn it around and make me from a doubter into a believer. Okay, if you look at the way Destiny 1 was supposed to be released, and I know we're going to get in this further in the conversation here, but Destiny, when it was first released, was supposed to be a 10-year game. Okay, 10-year game, not a 3 and what we'll talk about later. So with that, I think you have a lot of people that are on that fence. Going the route they've gone. I understand what they're trying to do with it, and like I said, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but you got a lot of people on the fence because they said stuff and they made promises, and it's not there. So with that, you see a lot of people that are saying, "Yeah, you know what? The beta basically called it for me. I'm not going to do the pre-order. I'm going to wait and see what happens." And let's face it, if you're on a budget and something like that, and if you don't have $100 to drop on the game, yeah, I would say that's a smart move. That's just common financial sense. So, it's like I stated before, it's kind of aggravating to see where we're at, but I'm still hoping for the best, but expecting the worst to a certain extent. I'm still going to buy, I'm still going to play. But we'll see what they deliver in the end game.
Right. I'm really conflicted about this because I feel like the game overall, progressively, I know I just talked about how it progressively, I feel like, has gotten better with each DLC. But I also would think that you look at Destiny right now, and when you pick up Destiny as a new player in its current state right now, you had no idea what happened when it launched, or you did have an idea what happened when it launched, but you didn't like it then. And then you decided, hey, I'm going to check it out now. It's a completely different game. And there's actually so much content now.
It's huge.
It's crazy, right? So
It's huge, and even for some of us players that have been playing since day one or the beta or the alpha, you got to sit down and really think about it. Okay, granted, I'm not deleting any of my characters to go back and relive it,
right.
but if you think about everything that you've done in the last 3 years in Destiny, and if you were a brand new player and you're coming into that mix and you actually played out the way you should, and I'm not talking getting that item where it automatically bumps you up to level 25 and going that route. I'm talking doing the whole experience, getting into the patrols, doing this, taking down Atheon, going in and taking down Crota, going in and taking down Skolas, going in and taking down Oryx, and building your guardian the same way that all of us, solid year 1, 2, and 3 players have done so far. There's a lot to do there. There's a heck of a lot to do there.
Yeah, almost overwhelming. You know what else is overwhelming? Watching PlayStation release a video on Twitter talking about where finding the fun in Destiny 2 is and what D2 is really all about, with your hosts, Mark Noseworthy and Luke Smith. Now, Mark Noseworthy said that Destiny 2 is trying to figure out how to show players that they can find the fun in Destiny 2, and they can do that by simplifying everything. And Luke Smith is kind of agreeing with that also. And some of the comments that they make, I'm not completely on board with. What did you think about this video? I don't understand it. I mean, it's just more hyperbole that we've already seen. It's just content that we've already seen taken from other things, condensed into a 1 minute, 1 second video that PlayStation felt like they needed to release on Twitter for some reason.
Correct. I I don't get it. I don't understand it. To me, it's more of a stab back at some of your solid
Naysayers.
hardcore players. You know, finding the fun in Destiny. I mean, how do you take that as a new guardian? How do you take that as a veteran guardian? Okay, from a veteran guardian stance, okay, Destiny is fun. You know what? I enjoy grinding, getting the guns that I want to get. You know, and I don't get, you know, butthurt if I don't get that. You know, we'll go back in time here a little bit. That clever dragon with high cal rounds and brace frame. You know, part of the Destiny experience for me with that was playing the game and grinding for that gear, to get that perfect helmet, to get that perfect chest piece, boots, gauntlets, you know, the perfect ghost, the perfect class item, the weapon that is going to help you excel depending on what type of guardian you are, whether you play a running gun or you're type of guy that wants to sit back and peg away with a scout rifle or a sniper. You know, searching for those guns, and I've said this before, like year one, when someone got the Galahorn or they came away from it, or you beat the Nightfall and you were able to pull out an exotic for that, there was such a sense of gratitude when you pulled down that weapon or that item, and it's like, oh yeah, I got this, you know. And when you didn't get it, yeah, there was that sense of, yeah, I came up short, but never once did you sit down and say, you know what, I'm done with this. Granted, there are some people out there that were like that. With this find the fun thing and dummying it down, I feel they pulled a little bit of the heart and soul of what Destiny actually is out of the game. And we basically covered that within the beta. But at the same time, I'm going to hold back some of my comments until I play the actual game, because they keep saying that they're changing this, they're changing this, they're changing that. I think you'll see how that basically becomes reality once the game launches. And then it'll be real interesting to see what happens, we'll say, you know, come PC release time later in October, to see if any updates happen, so on and so forth. And yeah, LaRue, I just said so on and so forth. Dang it. I promised that guy I wasn't going to say that.
Well, you're in luck. You are in luck, because I'm going to tell you, if you want to play Destiny and you want to find the fun, I'm going to tell you where it's at. And it's right now in War of the Planet of the Apes, when they're fighting over that final iron banana, which is being played out right as we speak. Have you played any of the Iron Banner currently going on right now?
No, I have not. And this has been kind of a slow week for me as far as Destiny's concerned. I've done my Nightfalls, all my Ages of Triumph treasures, and a few gunsmith. I got one more gunsmith to do, and then yeah, I'll be going into the banana this weekend for the last time. Really kind of sad to actually say that. A lot of good times, a lot of friends met in that game type, and I mean specifically that game type being Iron Banner. So it's kind of somber.
I'm not gonna miss the teleporting, but you know what? I'll probably get it in Destiny 2, so I'll get my fix there. PCs
on.
do what?
I'm just gonna sing a little Kansas there. But anyway,
PC's D2 beta launch is coming August 28th. Will you be participating? And if so, I mean, what are your expectations for the beta launch, especially now that they've announced that they're going to change the quick match map from Endless Vale to Javelin 4?
I think if you have a PC that's capable, you should play. Okay. Because they've also, not only saying that, they're going to do it with the upgraded build. The power weapon, the power ammo is supposed to drop more. And basically, Cosmos said in a little quick briefing, he said that see if you played the console beta, see if you notice the difference, because they say you should, even though in another comment article he said that it'd be subtle. So my advice is, if you do have a PC, yeah, I wouldn't pre-order it unless you feel the need to, and that's the device that you're wanting to play on. But definitely get into that open beta that weekend. I know I am planning on being there, and see what changed, see what is going on, and that'll just give maybe a little bit further lead whether they want to get into it or not. Bungie did a real nice job as far as releasing what their rig specs were for E3, going through what their suggested specs are and what their min specs. Real easy to go on BNet, pull up that article, bring up your computer's properties, and see if you can fit the bill for what they're saying. If not, try it. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? It's not going to play for you. It's not. It's a free gig. So I want to see what it does. I just hope I don't get smitten by it too bad on a PC as opposed to playing on my Xbox One.
Well, speaking of console, do you think that they're actually going to have the beta, the updated version of the beta that they've been talking that they have, and release it alongside this PC beta, or even before this PC beta, just so we can actually get another shot at playing a better version of the beta that they say that they have now?
You brought that up last week, and at that point in time, I doubted that comment. We agreed to disagree. But now that they're saying that they actually tweaked the beta for the PC, and debating on what kind of remarks and comments and feedback they get on that beta from the PC, I don't think it would be necessarily a bad move for them. Of course, you're going to have some people out there that say that's a desperation move and all the other stuff that goes with that. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad move if they would say, well, it's way improved, so on and so forth. And, right now the community is pretty well split. That's why I say with Hirschberg saying, oh, we're got all these pre-orders, all that other stuff. No matter what website I go to or forum I look on, it's a pretty divided mix. And the one thing I like doing, especially on the Bungie forum, is if someone makes a negative or bad comment, I got a tendency to click on that Guardian's name and see what kind of time is put in. And it's funny because a lot of the Guardians that have been around for a while are not necessarily happy with the layout of the land. And if you're a new Guardian and you're going into that, you're happy with it overall. Like I said, the PvP side of it I thought was pretty solid. The PvE side of it scares the living death out of me.
Yeah, same here. All right. Well, we're going to talk about Bungie's narrative team. They spoke at Comic-Con about the story and motivations and what they'll be for Destiny 2. And on Activision's blog, and I pulled this from Rolling Stone, actually. And apologies as I try to pronounce this poor guy's name. Guillaume. I'm so sorry. Kalam. That's his name. Destiny's narrative design lead. We'll go with that. Destiny's narrative design lead says, and I quote, "We wanted to talk about what people in this world care about, which is why we wanted to focus on the light. In Destiny 2, Gaul has stolen the player's light, bestowed upon them by the Traveler, who is more or less a god, which is a sort of validation that you are worthy. Gaul must feel a huge injustice." I can't talk. A huge injustice by not being given the light, as if humanity holds sway over its choices. Gaul sees this as a noble quest to free the Traveler. Kalam says that Gaul thinks he is doing the right thing. He thinks he is there to save the Traveler. Now, this is interesting. I knew that Gaul thought that he was the one that was supposed to be worthy, and by Gaul I mean Cabane. But I didn't think that he was actually thinking that he was there to save the Traveler. So that's a new aspect of this that I hadn't really extrapolated for myself. And it does add some interesting dynamics to the story. And I'm excited to see kind of where that goes, even if I'm not really excited about Cabane himself.
The thing is, based on what they said before, you're at polar opposites of the spectrum. Yeah. Debating on how it goes. You got well, he's there to steal the traveler. Now he's here to save the traveler. I don't know. Maybe he needs to get some more air through that breathing apparatus he's got on his face, because he's not getting up to his globe.
Lord Vader call.
um, when I see stuff like this, and Bungie makes the quote, "Well, we didn't even know what the darkness is." I'm not even sure if they know what Destiny 2 is, because it seems like they want to go this direction, and then the wind sways over here, and now we want to go that direction. And the more confusing it gets, and the more I hear, Destiny finding the fun and all that, just give me the game and let me figure it out for myself. Is the
At
way
this
I
point,
look
yeah.
at it. Yeah,
At this point, I completely agree.
It's hard to get behind anything, and it's hard to, not that you want to be negative on stuff, but when you have a lot of people that are throwing that out there, I generally try to offset that.
Yeah.
Okay, simply because if I look at what my original investment was in Destiny compared to the time I put in, it's literally quarter cents on the hour overall. It's something that I've very much thoroughly enjoyed. I have met some incredible people playing the game. I've seen some very incredible artists that have committed to the art section on BNet, the video people that are making different things, all the lore lords that are giving different videos on YouTube, and just some of the things that Bungie has done with that additional money, with helping different facilities, from hospitals to, just everything. I mean, it's really awe-inspiring. So when you hear all this stuff and you're kind of losing hope in what Destiny 2 is or is going to be, it worries me, because it's something that I've really come to enjoy, and I've put a lot of time in over the last 3 years. Change is never easy. So
we're always afraid of the unknown.
Well, and that's the thing. And when you get comments like this, it's like, okay, are you going left or are you going right? Or, someone points at you and they point their fingers in opposite directions, say, go that way.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it good? Is it bad? You're just kind of out of words to speak to it. So another thing that I'm just not overly excited about. But like I said, we'll find out in September, guys. We will find out in September.
We're almost there.
Yes.
We're almost there. I'm counting down the days.
Be here before you know it.
Yeah, it really will. I mean, this year has been flying by. It's crazy. Yeah. We're going to go ahead and move on to our next segment. It's called In a Word. Now, in this segment, I'm going to bounce off my lexicon jam off Charger's medulla oblongata and see if he can fill in the blank over a variety of topics. Charger, here we go. Are you ready?
This ain't going to hurt, is it?
Well, it just depends. We'll see what happens. Ooh. All right. Charger,
incoming.
Yeah. Get ready for some Wolfpack rounds. Up your sweet, up your tailpipe. Never a good feeling.
Rockstar, I got some back for you.
Rockstar energy drinks have been popping up with Destiny 2 promo codes. This partnership is blank.
Ooh. Rockstar energy drink promo codes and partnership is blank. I'm going to say semi-expected, unexpected.
Oh. The double.
Okay. The double up. Okay. The reason for that is everybody that was there for the Taken King launch knows that they paired up with Red Bull. And, there was the focused light codes that you could get that increased not only the rank up abilities of your Guardian's armor, anything that you had equipped would rank up at a higher rate. I believe it was 30 minutes or something like that. So I figured they were going to have something like that, but I figured they were going to have it with Red Bull, not Rockstar. So how Rockstar got into it? Okay.
Do you think it's speaking of Rockstar maybe has more of a global reach? I would think Red Bull would, but the people were talking about how it was kind of U.S. exclusive or North America exclusive.
Well, but once again, why would you segregate yourself from something like that? I mean, it's not really fair to our one listener in Australia, thank you. Um, I wouldn't necessarily do that if I was in that position, but you know, Red
Right.
Bull's global. I mean, you see that stuff everywhere. I mean,
Everywhere.
my
Everywhere.
father-in-law lives in Spain, and that's all the soccer games, everything. It's every place. So to
Aside
have
from the
something like that,
drink, aside from the
yeah,
drink for me, this partnership to me is typical. It's typical. That's the word I'm going to
okay,
go with. And why I go with that is because Bungie is known for partnering up with drinks, and we saw it with Halo, with Mountain Dew, we saw it with Destiny, with Red Bull, and now we're seeing it again with Rockstar. I mean, they can't just
Mhm.
hunker down on one individual drink because they're just too big for to be hunkered down with one individual drink. But typical is the
Okay,
word that I'm going to go with.
okay. I may expand on it a little bit, but here's one for you, and this is this could be a heavy truck, maybe not a salt truck, but a heavy truck. Lars Bakken says Bungie is not actively or was pursuing esports as a goal when with the Destiny 2 release. What do you? I should recategorize that a little bit. Okay, if I say Lars Bakken says Bungie is not actively pursuing esports as a goal was blank.
And
There.
I'm going to say Bungie. I'm going to say Bungie because that's exactly what Bungie does. They don't exactly seem to know what it is they want. Although I would totally argue that the whole move to the 4v4, let's cut out supers almost completely along with grenade times and make this game basically Call of Duty in a nutshell. Yeah, it's not it they totally bungeed it there, and his comments also suggest that it's up to the community. It's up to the community to lead this into the esports era, which, come on, man, you guys clearly made this 4v4 move intentionally to focus on esports, although not including, I don't know, a thing like private matches in your game at launch kind of hurts it. Agreed. So yeah, they bungeed it.
Bungeed. Well, when I'm sitting down and the kids got schoolwork, I got a fifth grader and a seventh grader. We sit down and we do our spelling and stuff like that. So I am going to sit down and I am going to go to thesaurus.com because I have a word in mind, but I'm going to give you the synonym of what I'm thinking. So my words, it looks like I got 2, 4, 6, 8. I got 10 variations. Let's see if you can guess my word. The synonym of the word I'm thinking has this. The synonym of it is a discharge, excrement, junk, rubbish, slop, excess, garbage, leavings, runoff, or trash.
Does it rhyme with zit?
No, it is sewage.
Oh,
Sewage.
that's
Okay.
close.
I, I don't see how you can sit down and say that, Lars. I really don't. What my biggest question back to you, what did you do in this game to make it more PvE based? Everything that I've seen so far has damaged the PvE aspect. I
I
know
think
you said
the
okay.
synonym you're looking for on that one is called zilch, zero, nada, nothing.
um, I know I've only gotten a taste, but the the speaking community on that has been more than loud on that aspect. Um, please prove me wrong, but to me, it looks like it's all derivative towards that. Um, Pulling out the armor stats, pulling out the weapon stats. Hopefully, what we brought up in episode 7 with the mod cards, mod stats is something that you guys left as a back door. Oh God, if you guys are doing that, that would be absolutely brilliant.
Bananas.
Plus, yeah, you blindside me with a left hook at 100 mile an hour.
Bananas.
Um,
Thanks, Gwen Stefani.
but right now, yeah, I don't see it, I don't buy it, and I don't see an ounce of it to support it.
Well, what you can
So
see is the Xbox download size for D2. I'm going to go ahead and ask you this. The Xbox download size for D2 of 28 plus gigs is blank by today's standards.
That, honestly, for me, I don't take a hard stance. Common. If you sit down and you look at the original Destiny, um, original Destiny original download was 29 gigs. So this one being at 28 doesn't really surprise me. Only 2 subclasses, everything else like that. I've said for the longest time when Destiny 2 comes out, it's going to be exactly like vanilla all over again. The content that any of us see in Destiny 1 compared to when to go into Destiny 2, I think is going to be severely downsized. Now they're saying they're making the patrols better and all that other stuff, which is great, which is good. Lost sectors, flashpoints, all that stuff, but it's yet to be proven. So 28 gigs, that doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me at all. Normally, Xbox keeps that exactly what it is on launch. Now, I know if you go online and you look at what PlayStation is suggesting, they're suggesting over 2 times that amount. They're saying 68 gigabytes. But I think what they're doing with that is they're basically keeping it in context for those players that are going to say, you know, by the time you get all these DLCs and these additional add-ons, the game could go up to a 68 gigabyte standard.
Or it's just all the exclusive content they're going to have for the next year.
I'll tell you right now, if that's the case, I don't even want the Borealis. Good Lord. And Borealis is taking up 40 gig. That thing is happening.
For me, this Xbox download size is subpar by today's standards. Subpar. If you're saying that the original game was 29 gigs and the second iteration of it, Destiny 2, is not even 29, a full 29. It's a 28 plus, but it's not quite 29 gigs. What? That's a little subpar by my standards. I mean, whatever. Whatever.
Think about the systems you're also entertaining here. Before you were entertaining the Xbox 360 and the PS3, Xbox One and PS4. Now you're only entertaining the Xbox One and the PS4. Technology moves forward, things get smaller, you're able to do more within the system and the hardware. So,
oh yeah, addition by subtraction. I saw that with my Super.
Yes. Ooh, Pichow.
Zing, got him.
All right, here's one for you. Luke Smith. Luke Smith.
I've heard of that guy.
Use your words, Charger. Use your words. The Master of Quotes recently told IGN that Destiny 2's protagonist will be silent again. Another game with a silent guardian is blank.
Another game with a silent guardian. So you refreshed me on this earlier, and I thought that was actually pretty interesting because at first I was like, it's not a big deal because it's a silent guardian. He's been silent for a long time. He has been silent for a long time. And you know why? Because he wasn't silent in the beginning of the game. And you reminded me about this. I can't believe that I actually forgot. But our guardian actually talks. And he talks a lot. Not just a little bit, but a lot. Throughout the entire beginning of Vanilla Destiny, you're one. If you played those first few missions that they have, he talks all the time. So now we're going to get a silent protagonist, even though, granted, with all the iterations of DLC that we've had coming up to this point, our Guardians basically said nothing. So to me, this is basically a Gala sword. This is a Gala sword through the heart. So thanks for that, Quote Master. Nailed it.
Well, my word is disappointing. Okay.
That's a good word.
Not only did your Guardian speak in all of Vanilla Destiny, there was 6 different iterations of that Guardian. Okay. Debating if you were an Exo, a human, or an Awoken. And based on if you were male or if you were female. Each one of them had their own voice. Whether the bank account ran out on voice actors or whatever, I don't know. I got no clue. If you're going to tell this story where you're going to try to draw people in and get lost in the Destiny universe, why are we rolling with a mute? You know, it almost makes you think that once our sacred Dinklebot left, so did our voice, and we did. You know, we took an oath of silence after that happened. But
well, I have
another one. I just don't. I don't get.
It's not backed up by Grimoire yet, but I think it could be eventually with added DLC. And that's actually when Cabane takes the Traveler. You don't realize it, but the Traveler, when he bestowed that light upon us and made us kick-ass guardians, that voice, the light was actually trapped within our vocal cords. And so when Cobain comes down and he steals that light, it's basically rendering us useless when in the talking sphere.
Getting back to my sentiment on sewage,
Getting back to Luke Smith, Luke Smith should be blanked after saying Destiny 2 is all about that fresh start in PlayStation's recent Finding the Fun video.
Luke Smith should be blank. Say that second half again.
After Luke Smith should be blanked after saying Destiny 2 is all about that fresh start in PlayStation's recent Finding the Fun video.
Ooh. Luke Smith should be muted. That's what I'm going to say. Muted. Yes. See how he likes not talking. I know some people that would like that. Bravo. I'm going to say muted, and that's my kind version.
Is that your final answer?
My final answer.
Muted. I'm going to say nut punched. I know it's hyphenated.
See, I didn't want it.
I'm going with it.
I didn't want to resort to violence.
Sometimes it's necessary to stop bad things from happening. You need to resort to violence. Not always. Dude, come on. Come on. All Destiny 2 is all about that fresh start. Wow. Guardians are silent. Fresh starts. Thank you. 2 supers.
It is. Like I said, if it goes like Destiny 1, we're going to gradually get better. So there it is.
You know what I'm saying about 2 supers? You get 2 supers. You get one at the beginning of the game and one at the end.
Oof. No space magic. All right. Here we go. I got one more for you. During Activision's earnings call, Eric Hirschberg said Destiny 2 had almost universally positive feedback from press and fans. Hirschberg, almost universally positive, is a blank comment.
Hysterical. It's a hysterical comment. Are you kidding? Look at this. Almost universally positive feedback from press and fans. I would give it to the press because I think the press was actually pretty on top of it when they're talking about positivity. When you go to the forums and look at what the community, which I consider fans, would actually say about the beta, I'm not going to say Destiny 2 had almost universal positivity because I didn't really see any positivity coming out of those forums at all.
Yeah, I didn't see much either. I'd almost be tempted to use the word semi-illiterate, but yeah. I hate being on this side of the fence. I really do. I really hate being on this side of the fence, but yeah, semi-illiterate comment. I mean, if you're really watching and you're looking what everything does, either that or you don't care. You're looking at your earnings statements. Granted, some of these companies are going to sit down and they're going to smooch. They're going to kiss the tail or what have you. But if you got people that are putting in literally hours and hours of your game and doing videos and free promotion for it and everything else, and they're saying that they're really worried about the direction that the game is going, that's your core group. That's what filled your sales during the drought of the game and everything else. So, like I said, at this point in time, I just can't wait for the game to get here, and then we can all have it in our hands. We can sort it out, and it'll be interesting to see what gets said and what direction it goes in next.
Right. Now, I completely waffled on this. Hysterical came to mind immediately. But concerning was another one that also jumped to mind because this is the CEO of Activision who is saying that Destiny 2 has almost universal positive feedback. And he's not a stupid guy. He's a CEO. And you mentioned earlier when we talked about Hirschberg and his statements at the top where he's talking about how an overwhelming high percentage of pre-orders and things like that. And he has to paint this in a positive light. He has to.
Yep.
I mean, it's an earnings call. So, of course, he's going to say things like this to all the people that back this game, all the investors.
Yeah.
But at the same time, man, it is pretty hysterical because he has to have the data. He has to know that no, it's not universal praise. But I would agree that even with the negativity around the beta, this is still going to sell well. This is still on track to potentially break records
Oh
and
yes, most
be
definitely.
one of the best selling games of the year, if not the
But
best selling game of the year.
here's my thing. Okay, if you sit down and you look at what the Destiny community is, and I'm talking anybody that ever played this game to get back into it. Okay, I expected way more momentum, enthusiasm, solid reporting. It very much reminds me of Destiny One, except they don't have this momentum going in before the release. Everyone was saying, in Destiny One, oh man, you can just go here, see that mountain over there, you can go to that, you can go to this building, and all this other stuff. And then when we got the game, it was like, oh, it was a big letdown. Okay, but there was that huge momentum going up into it. Now we don't have that huge momentum going into it, and my fear is, okay, what happens if it is a letdown again? Okay, now it's like, oh, you're double whammied on it. I'm not. I'm at a loss for words.
Yeah, I'm completely on board with you. I hope that's not the case. I really hope that's not the case. We both really enjoyed this game a lot, and even though we make fun of Luke Smith quite a bit, I would argue that he is a very intelligent man. He knows what he's doing. I wish that some of the comments that he made weren't so honest.
The way
I
they
wish
the
they
way
were all
they
not
come
very
out,
honest.
it's the way they come out. Every single person that we mentioned on this podcast has contributed immensely to the game of Destiny. It's a game that we all love, and we're very, very adamant about. Okay, I don't mean any harm or doing. And the way I look at most of this stuff is as solid, criticism. What I'm worried about, what I'm concerned about as a Destiny player, what I'm concerned about as a founder and a person that's trying to keep all this moving forward. Even a podcaster trying to branch more people out into the game and enjoy it and have those experiences that I've had. Like I said, change is never easy. It's not always accepted. I got my arms open, and like I said, I'm hoping for the best, and hopefully they blow my socks off.
Yeah, I think that's all we can do at the moment is really just hope for the best. I think that's going to do it for our show today. If you liked our Lexicon Jam hitting your medulla oblongata, feel free to subscribe and review us on iTunes. We are actually on iTunes now. Check us out, as well as Podbean and YouTube, where we put up a live boring video each and every Thursday. Also, check that out and subscribe if you would like to. Email us if you have any questions at destinyexpanse@gmail.com. That's destinyexpanse, all one word, at gmail.com. If we get your questions, we may read them on air. Who knows? Fun fact of the day, the first animals in space were fruit flies, launched in 1947 by the U.S. It looks like they were worth something after all. Charger, it's always a pleasure, man.
Oh, likewise, my friend. Likewise.
And thank you all for listening, guys. We are out.